In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a rear parking sensor on this Nissan Pathfinder. Let's get started. We have to take the bumper off to get to the parking sensors, and to take the bumper off we have to remove the taillights. So I'm going to pop this trim piece off, take a plastic trim tool and pry it away. You have to kind of pry it out but sideways at the same time. And I'm using a plastic tool, that way I don't scratch anything up. There we go. Two 10mm bolts hold these taillights on. Remove both of them. 1 and 2. And now, since we're here, we might as well unbolt this one, which holds the bumper on. There are also push clips down here, so at this point we do have to pull the entire taillight off. To do this, you want to just slide backwards, sideways, towards the outside of the vehicle. From the side, you'll most likely need a plastic trim tool because there are two little pins here and right about here that snap into the side of the vehicle. So I'm going to use this without damaging the paint. Pop that one out. That one's loose. And now the other one came loose as well. On the back side, the harness isn't very long, but you can see on the back side you have your bulbs, which you can either unplug or twist counterclockwise. I'm going to opt for unplugging them because I don't want the actual bulb dangling around in here and potentially breaking. So I'm going to unplug the connectors, leave the wiring here, take the taillight off. This will expose the push clip that we need to get to right over here. For this, you can take a trim tool, pop it straight up. Pull out the center, and then the entire push clip. There we go. Now let's do the same exact thing to the other side. On the corner of the bumper, on each corner, right where it meets the quarter panel, you'll have a 10mm screw. Take both of them out. There's one on each side. And now, with it off, you should be able to grab onto the bumper cover and pop it straight out. Underneath, you'll find two 10mm bolts. One you can't really see very well because it's right through this hole, but this one holds the splash shield or mud flap in place, but it also clamps down on the bumper, and this one right here holds the bumper onto a bracket. So I'm going to take both of them out. Now that these are out, this is all loose, so do the same to the other side. Further back on the bumper underneath, you'll see two push clips, one on each side. Go ahead and pop out the center, and there will be one symmetrically on the other side. Up here, behind the bumper, you'll see that there's a connector. This connector is actually a main connector for the entire wiring harness that goes into the bumper. I'm going to try to pry this off of here so I can disconnect it. You can disconnect it as it is right now, but it's a little bit difficult to reach. So if you just unclip it, have this retainer here that just has two tabs, one on each side. Definitely not easy to get to, but doing that will allow me to have an easier time unplugging it. Okay, so now that it's off, we can either disconnect it right here, unplug it, or pull it out with the bumper and unplug it once it's out. Now we can pull the bumper away from the vehicle. It just has some clips in the center here that have to pop out, just like this. Now you can pull it away. This harness that we unclipped should come with it. At this point, we have enough slack in the harness for us to put the bumper cover down like this and replace our sensor. At this point, you can unplug this connector by pressing on this tab. Sometimes you'll need a pocket screwdriver to go in from the other side and help pry this up. There we go. Now you can pull the bumper away further. You don't have to disconnect this if you don't want to, but it does help. From here on, the procedure will be the same for any of the 4 parking sensors that you want to replace, so I'm only going to show you one. You're going to have these tabs here that hold the sensor in. Pry these apart. This rubber gasket or silicone gasket fell out, that's normal. And at this point, this is the sensor itself. You're going to want to unplug it by pressing on the tab of this connector. This is going to be very stuck from sand buildup. Get this out of here, shake the connector so you can get all the sand and debris out of there. Here's your old one. Take the new one, which actually does come with a little bezel that goes around it. You can reuse it if you want, but you don't have to. I'm going to replace it just so I can show you how to actually do this. It has a clip at the top and a clip on the bottom that you're going to want to press and push through. It comes out through the outside of the bumper. There's the old piece, which in our case is actually broken. So I'm going to take the new piece, and as you can see, these are the locks, top and bottom. So you have to line them up with these areas, otherwise it will not lock in, and you probably can't even slide it in. Now that that's locked in, take the sensor, plug that in. It'll be easier to do it now rather than when it's right up against the bumper cover. Make sure that clicks and slide this in until that clicks. It should not fall out. It's normal for it to move a little bit, but it should not come off of here. Once again, the same procedure applies to all the other ones that you need to replace. Now let's reconnect this wiring harness. Make sure it's locked in. I just heard this click. It was very, very quiet, but make sure this clicks so that it doesn't come apart while you're driving and then you lose your parking sensors. So now that that's done, we can bring the bumper cover back up. It has clips that need to secure in all these retainers here. So basically they slide in and you'll feel them kind of clip on and the bumper cover won't fall off. You just have to make sure you line them all up. As you bring this up, make sure you don't scratch your paint. And once you line it up, you should see it almost fall into place. And then if you push it, it should snap in. And these are all secured. So now we can secure the sides. Don't forget to re-secure this connector on the frame of the vehicle here. This may be a little tricky to do just because you have to stick your hand up there. But it is important that you put it back so that it doesn't get caught on anything and potentially ripped off as you drive. Should have a mounting hole here for the clip or for the retainer. There it is right there. Press it through the best you can. There we go. That's secured. Now let's re-secure the splash shield as well as the bumper cover to this bracket right here. These were the little 10mm bolts. Underneath here, don't forget to put these two push clips back into their brackets to secure the bumper cover. One on one side and one on the other. Lock them in. Now from the side, let's clip in the bumper cover. Not only does this have to line up here, but the rest of it needs to clip in. To do that, you just tap it in place. Now that it's nice and flush, let's put this screw in. This was just a little 10mm screw. When you tighten this, make sure you don't go too tight. It's just going into plastic. All it needs to do is prevent the bumper cover from popping back out, and then stick this right back in here so it doesn't flop around. And of course, do the same to the other side. Now before the taillight goes in, don't forget about this push clip here, and of course, same on the other side. And now, let's put the taillight on. I'm first going to reconnect all of my plugs for the taillight bulbs. There's one down here. Make sure they all click. The harness is fairly short, so you won't have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to plugging these back in. And then of course this one further out here. They all clicked. So now I'm going to line up the two pins that are here and a little bit lower with these two tabs, plastic inserts, I guess. Once you line them up, give it a tap. That should line up the entire taillight assembly. And now we can put in the 3 fasteners, 2 for the taillight and 1 for the bumper cover. Snug them up. They are only threading into plastic, so you don't want to tighten them too much. If you do, you'll strip out the plastic and then they won't get tight. And of course this one for the bumper. And now, don't forget about this piece. It has 2 little clips that need to clip diagonal into the taillight. Just like that. And of course, do the same to the other side.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.